This channel is supported by Truefire. Truefire.
Stop all that. The Truefire All Access membership, they've brought the price down for March Madness, they're calling it, so the cheapest you can get it any time of year. I think it's been about a month that I've owned this Fender Player 2, which I got from Project Music. By now, Conan, you've probably had your kid. Hope it's doing good. This is, I think, quite an impressive guitar for the money. Typically around this price, you find maybe that the guitars are a bit heavy. Maybe you find that some of the specs aren't exactly what you're looking for, and maybe you find that there are sometimes compromises on the pickup. So I think of something like maybe the Larry Carlton S7s, which I think really good guitars for money, but there's a couple of things about them where it's like, okay, well, it doesn't sound as stratty as I'd like because of the pickup choices or whatever. It might not look quite right in some ways, whereas I think the Fender Player 2s actually look fantastic. But more importantly than that, I think they sound really pretty good. So in this video, I kind of wanted to look at the Player 2 again, because I think with the Fender Standard that just came out, potentially some attention is going to be drawn away from the Player 2, which is actually, I think, quite a superior instrument. We have a 42mm nut. I think they have some decent tuners on these. 2-point trem with Fender branded saddles. We've got a decent set of pickups, which I think actually hold up pretty well with some of they're classic kit tuners, it says it here, pretty well with some of the more expensive Fenders, even American stuff. The plastics all match really nicely and it looks pretty classy. This is a chambered ash body. The guitar comes in at under £7, partly due to that chambering. I will be selling this guitar if you're particularly looking for a good example. Then I would say this is a pretty good one. But I also played the birch green one. The only issue that I had with that was that there was the skunk stripe had started to lift slightly, so it was not perfect out of the box. So that one went back. But I think actually they're fantastic looking and pretty good sounding guitars. So for example, like, does it sound like a Strat? Yeah. Does it look cheap? No. And it's got the same sort of satin feel that you get on the American Professional 2, which doesn't have like that glossy stickiness to it, and does feel pretty comfortable. The only one downside for me with this is that the neck is a little bit skinnier than I would like. But even the Fender American Vintage 1961 Strat, the neck on that is fairly similar feeling to my hands to this. This does have a 9.5 inch radius as well, which does like suit like me for sure, and probably plenty of other people. And it has the rolled fretboard edges, so it feels really comfortable in the hand. But in all positions, like, it's just a great, I think, pretty honest Strat. And yeah, the price is maybe a little higher than I'd like, in particular when I'm thinking about the competition that maybe the Sire Larry Carlton has, or maybe the Silver Sky SE. But I do think you end up, because you've got that Fender headstock and the look of the thing, maybe with a guitar that you're going to feel is a bit more right than some of those other examples. If you're thinking the neck on the Player 2 is a bit too skinny for you, I think the Vintera is a little bit thicker. Certainly the one that I've got is, but I don't know if I've heard that the Vintera necks have got a little bit skinnier over time. But the Vintera 60s neck that I've got is definitely more substantial feeling in the hand. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments if you try to Player 2. I think it's a good enough guitar to get you from, you know, beginner all the way up to performing, and that's a good thing. You know, they call it the Player 2. You know, it's a good playing guitar. So yeah, I've had some kind of thoughts that were maybe a bit unfounded on the Fender Player in general. I definitely think the Player 2 is a big upgrade from the Player, with the proper dark rosewood neck on this. It just looks fantastic, I think. Anyway, as I say, I will be selling this one, but that's not because it's not a decent guitar, it's just because I'm getting rid of a bunch of guitars so that I can make some other videos on other guitars. Cheers for stopping by.